you doing? Welcome. Welcome to Monday. It's Monday, the day we all celebrate making mayhem and madness online with Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD. Something on my screen, it's bothering me. How's it going? It's nice to see you. Super happy to be here. It's the Monday before Thanksgiving. My hair is kicking. I'm really happy about it. Got on some earrings. I've got on my Nevertheless She Persisted t-shirt. So I'm really pretty excited to be here. Hey Mel, how's it going? Hi Melanie, how's it going? Nice to see y'all. Happy Monday. Welcome to the excitement. Good to be here. So I decided that today's Monday Mayhem was going to be like a little bit of a big deep breath because I'm just sort of over the news. And I got super overwhelmed with the news. And I was like, if I have to hear one more story about how people think it's okay to vote for a pedophile because majority in Congress, like it hurts my heart. And I just can't. And so today's Monday Mayhem is really about an invitation to risk. And I have been thinking a lot about this the last couple of days and about how I am willing to take risk because sometimes that scares me to death. And so I wrote this great blog about taking a risk. And it kind of starts talking about this tattoo I have on my back. So I have a couple of tattoos. I don't have many because they scare me and they hurt. And I don't enjoy them at all. But I have this tattoo on my back. It's a banner. Some people call them the tramp stamp, which I just think is kind of mean because mine's not trampy, but it's in that spot that everybody identifies as such. And it says forward out of darkness, forward into light. And it is taken from the suffrage motto. They had these big banners that they sewed up that talked about moving forward out of darkness, forward into light. And so that's tattooed on my back. And the reason I got that tattoo is because back when I was running the first bill I ever wrote, so I was getting my master's degree at the University of Utah in the School of Social Work, and I did research on homeless youth. And because of my research, I wrote a bill, an emancipation of a minor bill. And I taught myself how to lobby. Like I didn't know anything about lobbying. I didn't know anything about how the government worked. Like I knew what I learned in high school. I knew the 3 branches of government, but I didn't really know anything else about how the Utah State Legislature in particular worked. And so I taught myself how a bill becomes a law in Utah, and I advocated for this emancipation of a minor bill, and I built the coalition about bringing people together to talk about it. And anyway, my first year I introduced it. I was super excited. I got it sponsored. It was going really great. And so the Utah legislature is a part-time legislature, so it only goes for 45 days, which is really nice when you want to kill a bill or save a bill or pass a bill. And so I got my tattoo after LeVar Christensen, Representative LeVar Christensen killed my bill at 11:59 and 59 seconds the last day of the legislative session. And I remember standing there and I was devastated. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening, because it had already moved through and it was doing a really good job. And then it just died a 1,000 horrible, awful deaths. And it was because everybody thought that the Emancipation Bill was to take the fundamental liberty rights away from parents to have control over their children. And I'm quoting that because it's actually a line I ended up putting in the bill when I introduced it the next year, so that elected officials will understand that that wasn't the point of the Emancipation Bill. It was really to help homeless kids. But anyway, so I get this tattoo because what else do you do when you're devastated? Why, of course, you go get a tattoo that says forward out of darkness, forward into light, to sort of remind you about. It reminds me that especially when it comes to policy, persistence is really key. And this was 13 years ago, so this is a while ago. And it's interesting to me how this is sort of coming full circle now that we're talking about all these policies that are being implemented that are really going to hurt people and hurt real people's lives. And so I kind of go back to, hi Beverly, how are you? It's nice to see you here. So I kind of go back to this like idea of forward out of darkness, forward into light. And, you know, a lot of times I would doubt myself, like maybe I'm wrong to be doing this, or maybe I'm wrong to be pursuing this legislation, or maybe I'm doing something wrong and I'm not good enough to make this happen. Maybe someone else needs to do it. And the thing that I realized after that first go was that legislation takes a lot of time. and it takes a lot of time for the most part to get stuff passed. It's a process. And so I really want people to take the risk to engage in action, because I literally was an MSW student who just knew that we had homeless youth and no homeless youth shelter, but that we needed an emancipation bill as a first step to helping youth get to shelter. And I am very happy to say that the Emancipation of a Minor bill, which I should pull it back a little bit because it's hard to see the signature with the glare of my window right there. Isn't that a beautiful window? So the Emancipation of a Minor bill did eventually pass in 2006, and Governor Huntsman gave me the pen he used to sign the bill. And it sits in my living room because it's like the first thing I ever give birth to. It's the only thing I'm ever given birth to, which is sort of funny. But I wrote that bill on my dining room table, and like I figured out how to make all that happen. And I think the thing that I really, really want to hammer home to people is that women who like I heard this phrase yesterday about putting on a breastplate of faith and love. And to me, that means us putting on an armor of faith and love, because we cannot be silent anymore as women. And I think that if people accept this invitation to take a risk to speak out about something that's really critically important to us, then we are going to have the opportunity to really make a change. And LeVar Christensen didn't know who I was. Like, that guy, I would see him in the hallway of the Utah State Capitol, and he would literally look through me. Like, he didn't even know that I was behind that bill. Like, he never put it together. And I think it's really important that I knew deep in my heart that as long as we had homeless kids sleeping in, sub-zero temperatures at 10 degrees, that we needed to do something about it. And I held on to that conviction. And that was really my armor. My armor was my conviction that I knew I had to do something to help those kids. Because if I didn't, nobody else was going to do it, because I was the one who had done all the research while I was getting my master's degree. And so I put on my tattoo, and I walked out of my own darkness and my own sadness and my own disappointment that bill had died, and I made it a reality. And it sits here today, and it's helped hundreds of homeless kids in Utah get emancipated. And so really today's Monday Mayhem is really all about taking a risk, and it's all about thinking about what lights you on fire. Like, what can you, yes, Belinda, if not us, then who? Like, here we are. Hey, Jen Connolly. Oh, holy crap, you're here. I love this. Jen Connolly's all the way in Ireland, and I'm really happy to see her here. If not us, then who indeed, Belinda Smith, because this is really a critical point in our history. And if we don't tap into what's lighting us on fire, how are we ever going to preach our own gospel? And this is uncomfortable. Like, this is tough stuff, but we have to be able to go out and preach our gospel and what we know to be true. And let's just talk about Gal Gadot for just a minute, okay? Like, what she knows to be true is she's not going to work on a movie set with some guy who's totally a super, super bad, awful sexual harasser man. And just to get back to some of my heroes for just a second, I talk about Joan of Arc. Like, I put pictures of Joan of Arc and Tank Girl and the women marching on my blog about this Monday Mayhem. But let's just talk about Wonder Woman for just a minute, okay? If no one else will defend the world, then I must. Jen Connolly, I love it when you're a part of my movement and our time zones align, because you've been part of my movement for a long time. And you know the story of me passing my emancipation bill, which is what I started with in my blog. So I'm really excited about you being here. If no one else will defend the world, then I must. And this goes back to what Belinda just said. If we don't do this, nobody's going to do this. And we are Wonder Woman, and we are powerful. And when we tap into our light and our convictions about what bring us joy and happiness, and when we tap into, for me at the beginning, it was homeless youth, and it was especially homeless LGBT youth in Utah. And now my like, hi, Nikki. My thing that lights me up is women's reproductive health and reproductive justice, and talking about those things and researching those things and getting those things, the real stories of what we experience as people, out into the world. Like, when we tap into firmly knowing what it is that lights us up, then we can go out and change things, and we can voice how we feel, and we can run for office, and we can do all of the things that make us feel excited and make a change in the world. Because if you know what it is you want, and you know what it is you want to change, and you figure out how to pull the numbers about what that really looks like, or tell the story about what that really is, then you can go out and do anything. And if I can do it as a girl in Utah who's talking about these things, my Emancipation of a Minor bill, this bill right here, is one of 6 bills that I've actually passed in the Utah State Legislature. I mean, I was talking about some really tough stuff. We changed shelter law after we wrote that emancipation bill. And when I say we, I'm talking about this core group of women. I had this group of phenomenal legislators. It was a bipartisan approach. Lori Falk, who is a representative from Utah County, and then we ended up getting Senator Bramble, who's also a legislator from Utah County, which it's a very conservative county in Utah. But they understood what it meant to change shelter law and to change emancipation law so that we could help homeless kids get sheltered and get homed and get into safe spaces so that they could go on with their lives and do something awesome. And it's because of that approach that I took of bringing everybody in and talking to people from where they're at, not where I wanted them to be, that I was really able to engage in taking a risk and pushing through my fear that nobody would listen to me, because I'm not the typical lobbyist girl. I didn't have a lot of money. I was working for when I did the emancipation bill, it was just me up there advocating as a citizen lobbyist. And then I got hired for Planned Parenthood to be their lobbyist. And then, you know, I mean, in Utah, holy crapola. And I really had to live in this space where I every day put on my breastplate of armor, that just I loved what I was doing and I had faith in what I was doing. And I believe deeply in the core of who I am, that the gospel of Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD, which is not what I was when I started this journey, but my gospel is firmly knowing with my whole entire heart that kids do not deserve to live in sub-zero temperatures, that women deserve to have the right to make their own medical decisions about their bodies, no matter what that is. And that you, as my supporters and the members of my community and members in this world, people in this country, you have the opportunity to go out and do some really cool stuff. And it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to become a lobbyist like me and do that. But maybe it's that you collect shoes for homeless people, or it's that you go and serve turkey dinner to people, or not during the holidays, but during the summer months and the spring months, you figure out what homeless people need to keep them dry and safe. Because guess what? Homeless people don't just show up for Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner and then they're invisible they are invisible the rest of the year. But they still need food throughout the entire year, and they still need shelter throughout the entire year. And one of the creative ways I dealt with that before we changed shelter law in Utah is I used to do a sleeping bag drive. And I had like Boy Scout troops collecting like 200 sleeping bags for me so that I could take them to the homeless youth drop-in center. And then I knew that young people had a warm sleeping bag year round, not just during the winter months. And so there's all sorts of creative ways that you can really tap into taking a risk. And that's really what I want to give you all today on this Monday Mayhem. The mayhem and engaging and in stirring the pot and stirring shit up, that mayhem, that's just doing one little thing in the next 365 days that just stirs it up a little bit, that really makes you feel lit on fire, that totally makes you think, oh, you know what I did today? I made a difference. And that's what the invitation to risk is about to me. To me, when someone says, you know, you need to go out and take a risk, I say, that's right. Every single day, I need to take the risk to wake up, get on here and do a Facebook Live, preach my truth on social media, do it in a really imperfect way, because I don't ever do this perfectly. Like, I'm just laying myself out here going, okay, I'm going to be the imperfect activist and I'm just going to go out and do some stuff, because there is a piece of me that wants to take, okay, now I'm a doctor, but I didn't start out as a doctor. I just started out as this girl who was like, we've got homeless kids and this is problematic for me on a number of levels as a social worker. And really standing firmly in my knowing that this isn't comfortable and making change isn't comfortable, but if we don't do it, nobody's gonna, right? So today, my Monday Mayhem message to y'all is go out, figure out, just sit deep in your conviction. Listen to that little voice right here inside of you that's like, what do I want to do to change the world? And then do that thing. No matter how long it takes, do that thing. Because sometimes it takes a couple years. My first bill, it died. I amended it a little bit, gave the super conservative people what they wanted. Now there's an emancipation law that's helping homeless kids. Whatever it is, y'all, whatever it is, I want you to go out and I want you to do it. I want you to take the risk. This is Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD, telling you, here's your invitation. I am inviting you to take the risk. I think you guys are awesome. I think you're amazing. And I totally think you can go out there and just totally stir it up. I really do. And I also want to say to you that I love and love and love how all of you are supporting me. I just totally dig it. You can support me on Patreon at birdgirl.com. You can support me by becoming a follower of mine on Twitter at birdgirl.com and on Instagram at birdgirl.com and on my website at birdgirlindustries.com. And I'm just having a whole lot of fun mixing it up with y'all. And I just really appreciate you all being here. So on this week of Mad Gratitude, which I'm always in mad gratitude of everybody here, but I really want to thank you for being here. And I really want you to go out, and I invite you to go out and take a risk this week. Love y'all. Stir some shit up. Make some mayhem.